Here you go. My name is Oliver. Most people call me the coach. Listen, we got another podcast of Talk Your Truth Thursday. Now today I got a special guest with me, Attorney Nicola. Nicola, how you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me.
You know what? It's hard to get on your calendar.
Well, we are busy.
Probate seems to be in the subject. Today is going to be about probate. So tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am Attorney Nicola Robinson. I have had estate planning and probate practice out in Douglasville for the last 5 years, exclusively doing just probate and estate work.
Now, some don't know what probate is. Can you give us a simple definition of what is probate?
Probate really, I say, is getting things out of dead people's name to the living, to the next family or generation or next person that should have inherited that property.
Wow. So if a family member, someone you love, actually transitioned, and now at this junction, there may be assets that need to be distributed. So you've been doing this for how long?
I've been doing exclusively probate and estate for 5 years.
5 years. So you're good at this.
I'm pretty good at it.
So if I'm just getting started and in my mind I just lost a loved one, what would be the first step I would take?
Well, after you've gone through the grieving, there is the business, there is the conclusion of that person's taxes, any finances that they may still have outstanding. So you want to kind of start gathering documents. I tell people the very first place to start is being an investigator to figure out what the person left behind. Because a lot of times the family members may not really know. They may think, oh, mom used to own a house, when we lived over here, but I don't know if she sold it or if somebody's renting it. Or I don't know where she banks, or I don't know where her life insurance policy is. And so we have to start looking through the mail and looking through the documentation that may be left behind so we can start figuring out what those assets are that we will need to go through probate for.
Do we just arbitrarily forget what the bills look like too? we don't need that, we just go straight to...
I get that so often. I think we have this misconception that when somebody dies, they go to the grave with them. That you don't have to pay Amex, you don't have to pay, Capital. Yes.
Are you serious?
So yes, there is a process, and through probate, we can possibly negotiate some of what may be left behind, but you will have to deal with it. It doesn't just disappear and nobody talks about it when somebody passes away. And depending on what type of debt it is, we may have to pay it. And so sometimes the family, it's really hard for them to understand that, yes, mom left a house, and she may even left a will that says house to her children, but mom owed the IRS $100,000. Mom still had medical bills.
Goodness.
Mom still had, attorney fees. Maybe she had some other previous things. Those have to be taken care of before we can even get to giving the house to the children.
It sounds like a shakedown to me, like it's a government shakedown. Okay, you transition. Now, does that work the same if you're married?
It does.
It doesn't make a difference, whoever's involved.
No, it doesn't. And so sometimes we can inadvertently leave our kids with nothing because we keep thinking, I left a will. Will says house to my kids.
Right.
But you hadn't talked about the $300,000 worth of debt that you also left behind. And depending on who those creditors are, they have a right to be paid back. If that house is worth $300,000, guess what? They may come after that house and say, no, that needs to be sold so we can be paid back. People think it's done once you're dead, but it's not.
So you don't go straight transition, will, have a good day.
No.
So everything in Georgia is probated.
Not everything.
Okay,
there are certain
ways.
Yeah, there are ways to even avoid probate. A lot of times people come to my office and say, I'm thinking about getting my affairs in order. I've dealt with the probate process. People came out the woodwork that we didn't even know were related to us, and it was really, laborious and expensive, and we just don't want to deal with that. And so you can do a trust. And people don't really understand the value of a trust. So a trust does not go through probate at all.
Nice.
And that's why you'll see a lot of times celebrities have trusts. And so, they pass away and we don't really know much about what happened to their assets. The only time we hear about celebrity assets is when they didn't do any planning.
Or if they didn't have no money left.
Right, exactly. But you think about people like Aretha Franklin who just out here writing stuff by hand. Or, but when you think about people like Nipsey Hussle, he passed and we really didn't hear much after that. When Princess Diana died, her kids are still benefiting from her trust. So it gives you a level of privacy, but it also doesn't have to pay those creditors back, and that's something people don't understand.
So on the internet, Instagram, all of this, do a trust, be a trust. So give us a definition of what's a trust, a simple definition.
So a trust is a relationship, really. Let's say I have a bunch of money, just arbitrarily, hopefully speak it into existence. But I have a bunch of money.
She talking about speaking it into existence. She opened up the checkbook like it's already in existence. But go ahead.
I have a bunch of money, but I have small kids, or I have some concern about who they might marry later, and I'm like, you know what? If I died, I don't want them to get this sum of money right away. I want them to maybe go to college, or maybe wait till they're 30 or a little older when they can really manage this money. So I would then go to an attorney that does this type of work, and we would draft the documents that simply says, I am the grantor, I'm the creator of the trust. I have these children that I want to benefit from the trust, the beneficiaries.
Gotcha.
But if something happened to me, I need somebody else to manage that money and to manage those assets until the children become of age. So I would name someone like you as the trustee, the manager. And so the attorney drafts the documents that outlines that relationship, me grantor, you trustee, manager, and what to actually happen to those assets that will be for the benefit of my children later. That's all it is.
You see what we learned today? And I don't know what the cost is. So on the average, we're in Georgia. For those friends that's around the world, every state works differently, right?
Yes.
So this is state kind of like oriented towards the Georgia area, but at the end of the day, if I'm setting up a trust, what would be the average cost in Georgia?
So in Georgia, a single person versus a married person, the price tends to be a little bit different. But you will start about $5,000 to set up a trust. Okay.
But that lasts the life of the person that's still the trustee.
Yes, and so I, as the grantor, can also be the first trustee. I'm still able-bodied, I'm still here, I can still manage my assets, and then should I become incapacitated or pass away, then the torch is passed to you to manage it. But let's say I fall out with my kids. Let's say they done turned into, little rugrats that I'm just like, these little terrorists.
Little Damien.
They don't need none of this.
Hold on, they waiting for you to leave. Like, right. Man, Mom, why are you still living? Pops, I mean, it's 100 years ago. Come on, you're supposed to go. So go ahead, sorry about that.
So you can always come back and amend the trust. We can always make changes to the trust. So I tell people, you sit down, you create it, and this is what you want today. That doesn't mean that's what you're gonna want 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Life keeps lifing. And people die, people, inherit other plots of money. Maybe there's a special needs child that we need to take into consideration. And so all of those things will come back to the table, and that trust will evolve. Wow. Or maybe you hit the lottery and it's like, I want to leave everything to these charities. I want to do some charitable giving. I want to do some foundation work. And so all of that will be taken into consideration.
You see this? We have this expert, but we don't have the time because she's on the platform. I kind of like drew her away from this big platform. So she has an actual judge out there waiting for her and another attorney in a room full of people. Because I just kind of like pulled her out of her frame. She was eating, I'm not saying chicken, but she was eating during the process. So let me ask you a question. If somebody needs to reach out to you, how do they contact you?
So you can call my office. It's 404-410-6505.
That's the best way?
That's the best way. And we have social media platforms, so they have resources so people can continue to learn about this stuff too. I have my own podcast.
Well, what's the name of your podcast?
It's called Black Parents Aging. And I talk about like having those conversations with your parents as they're aging, about their assets, about their resources. Like, how can we get organized before we're stuck with a crisis and we're now all scrambling trying to figure out what to do? So we go through just how to have that hard conversation.
So I'm the aging parent then. I'm the one that my son that graduated from Morehouse and my daughter who's a college graduate probably asking me, yo, Dad, where is the stash? Where's the stash and who's allocated what? So probably I need to come see you on your podcast and talk about it from my perspective. So listen, This is awesome. Attorney Nicola, what's your last name?
Robinson.
Robinson, like in the Robinson family.
Yes.
You know, you can reach out to, get that phone number one more time.
404-410-6505.
Listen, if you want to reach out, get that up-to-date information, you can reach out to her. We're going to be doing a follow-up because we only touched the tip of the iceberg and there's so much more information. Again, my name is Oliver. Most people call me the coach. Y'all guys have a great day.